Hello student, good day to all of you. Today we are going to study secretarial practice subject chapter number 3, issue of shares. In the last lecture we seen different methods of issue of shares. In this lecture we are going to study allotment of shares. So every company issue shares. Whenever there is a issue of shares made to general public, then company have to issue companies again shares will be included. So what is meant by allotment of shares? After issuing the shares to the general public, whenever public fill up the application form and subscribe for the shares, then after subscribing to shares, company allot the shares, available shares will be allotted to the general public. So what is meant by allotment of shares? When a company gives shares to an applicant based on the application submitted, it is called as allotment of shares. So allotment of shares म्हणजे काय? जे पण shares ज्यांनी सबस्क्राईब केले, for example company make the issue of 1000 shares to the public, and for example if any subscriber fill up the application or subscribe for 100 shares, then कंपनी जर 100 शेअर्स त्याला देत असेल तर त्याला काय म्हणतात? अलॉटमेंट ऑफ शेअर्स. जेवढे शेअर्स त्यांनी ॲप्लाय केलेले आहेत आणि जेवढे शेअर्स त्याला मिळणार आहेत, जेवढे शेअर्स मिळणार आहेत त्याला काय म्हणायचं आहे? अलॉटमेंट ऑफ शेअर्स. सो वेन अ कंपनी गिव्स शेअर्स टू ॲन ॲप्लिकंट, ॲप्लिकंट म्हणजे कोण असणार आहे? जो ॲप्लाय करणार आहे शेअर्ससाठी, बेस्ड ऑन द ॲप्लिकेशन सबमिटेड, इट इज कॉल्ड ॲज अलॉटमेंट ऑफ शेअर्स. म्हणजे अलॉटमेंट ऑफ शेअर्ससाठी काय करायचं इथे? जेव्हा पण कंपनी शेअर्स इश्यू करणार आहे आणि त्या शेअर्समध्ये त्या ॲप्लिकेशन नंतर कंपनी जेवढे त्यांना देणार आहेत त्यांना काय म्हणायचं? अलॉटमेंट. सो डेफिनिशन, Supreme Court has defined allotment as the appropriation out of the previously unappropriated capital of the company of a certain number of shares to a person. म्हणजे जेवढे शेअर्स ॲप्लाय करणारे एखादा पर्सन आणि त्या ॲप्लाय केलेल्या शेअर्समधले जेवढे शेअर्स कंपनी त्या पर्सनला देणार आहे त्या नंबर्सला काय म्हणायचं? अलॉटमेंट ऑफ शेअर्स. सो ॲप्रोप्रिएट मीन्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूट, अनॲप्रोप्रिएट मीन्स अनडिवायडेड और होल. फॉर एक्झाम्पल 100 शेअर्ससाठी ॲप्लाय केलं आहे पब्लिकनी, एखाद्या पर्सननी 100 शेअर्ससाठी ॲप्लाय केलं आहे आणि कंपनी 50 शेअर्स त्याला देणार आहे. मग ते 50 शेअर्स काय असणार आहेत? ॲप्रोप्रिएट असणार आहेत. So thus as per this definition, allotment of shares means allocating or giving certain number of shares by board of directors out of the previously unallocated capital of the company to persons who have applied for the shares. The company issues prospectus and application form. So whenever company make the issue of shares to the general public or invite for the purpose of issue of shares, then in such a case company must issue prospectus, and prospectus include application form. application form कसला असतो? ज्या application फॉर्मचा इट, मग तो ॲप्लिकेशन फॉर्म ज्याला शेअर्स परचेस करायचे आहेत एखाद्या पर्टिक्युलर कंपनीचे, तो काय करणार? तो फिलअप करणार आणि सबमिट करणार विथ ॲप्लिकेशन मनी टू द कंपनीज बँकर्स. जेव्हा पण ॲट द इनिशियल स्टेज कंपनी इन्व्हाइट or make the appoint of bankers. मग त्या बँकर्स कोणतीही असेल, एखादी बँक असेल, त्या बँकमध्ये काय करणार आहे, ते शेअर ॲप्लिकेशन फॉर्म आणि ॲप्लिकेशन मनी हे सगळं काय करणार, तो तिथे डिपॉझिट करणार. त्याला कोणता अकाउंट म्हणतो आपण, एस्क्रॉ अकाउंट. The board of directors approves the acceptance of such applications in the board meeting by passing resolution. मग आता जेव्हा लास्ट डेट असते सबमिशनची, जेवढे शेअर्स ॲप्लिकेशन फॉर्म सबमिट झालेत विथ ॲप्लिकेशन मनी, मग त्याच्यातून काय होणार आहेत, बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स डिसाईड करणार आहेत हाऊ मेनी नंबर ऑफ शेअर्स विल बी अलॉटेड टू अ पर्टिक्युलर पर्सन by passing resolution. This is called as allotment of shares. The board of directors has the power to allot shares. Only board of directors have the power to make the allotment of shares. Under the Companies Act 2013, following companies have to issue shares or securities in dematerialized form. आता डिमटेरियलाइज्ड मीन्स काय असणार आहे, डीमॅट अकाउंट इन द इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म. जे पण डॉक्युमेंट्स आहेत, पेपर्स आहेत, ते कशामध्ये कन्वर्ट केले जातात, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्ममध्ये. त्यालाच काय म्हणतो आपण, डिमटेरियलाइज्ड फॉर्म. मग कोणत्या कंपनीज आहेत, फर्स्ट वन, अ कंपनी मेकिंग अ पब्लिक ऑफर इन new issues with effect from 10th September 2018. Unlisted means what? Which is not listed with the stock of exchange. Third one, such other class or classes of companies as may be prescribed. So any other company can issue its shares in any form. Also, the companies have the freedom to convert its shares into dematerialized form at any point of time. Companies issuing shares in dematerialized form has to comply with the provisions of the Depositories Act 1996 and regulations issued thereunder. So for this purpose, whenever company issuing shares in the dematerialized form, such company has to comply with the provisions mentioned in the Depositories Act 1996. So there are certain provisions or conditions for making the allotment of shares. There are two types of provision for allotment of shares. A company has to fulfill following. First one, statutory provisions, म्हणजेच काय असणार आहेत त्या, legal provisions, legal paperwork असणार आहे. And second one, general principles. So in this lecture we seen only statutory provisions. So these are provisions laid down by the Companies Act 2013. I told you this is legal provisions. जे पण provisions mention केलेत Companies Act 2013 मध्ये, त्या फॉलो करायच्यात while making the allotment of invites public for the making issue of shares. Then such company issue prospectus, a copy of the same filed with the Registrar of Companies. This prospectus must be signed by every proposed director or his duly authorized advocate. Second one, application money. The Companies Act states that along with the application form, the applicant has to pay a minimum of 5% of the nominal amount of the shares or such other amount as specified by SEBI. Such amount will be known as subscription money. So whenever company sends application form along with the prospectus, so applicant, while depositing the application form into the bank, 5% of the nominal amount of the shares will be deposited in the same. So SEBI has specified for public companies the application money to be minimum 25% of the nominal amount of shares. In the case of public companies, it is 25%, minimum 25% of the nominal amount. The application money is to be paid in the bank specified by the company. जे पण कोणत्याही कंपनीने जी बँक अपॉइंट केले, ज्या बँकर्सला अपॉइंट केलेलं आहे त्या बँकमध्येच काय करायचं आहे, त्या पर्सननी ॲप्लिकंट डिपॉझिट करायचं आहे. Third provision is minimum subscription. So what is meant by here? Minimum subscription amount which will be deposited by the applicant into the bank. So minimum subscription amount is the minimum amount of shares that must be taken or bought by the subscribers who subscribe for the shares. So such amount will be paid into the bank. Such amount will be known as minimum subscription amount. This amount is mentioned in the prospectus. It must be collected within 30 days from issue of prospectus. SEBI has stated minimum subscription should be 90% of the issue. So first, usually when a company does not collect minimum subscription, it means its issue has been undersubscribed. That is, the number of shares applied for is less than the shares offered by the company. Means here, whenever number of shares applied by the applicant is less than the shares offered by the company. For example, company offered 100 as undersubscribed. And second one, if minimum subscription is not collected within the specified time, the entire amount received as application money should be returned to the subscribers within 15 days of closure of issue. To avoid such a situation, company may enter into an underwriting agreement with the underwriters. So underwriters are the agents. So bankers acts as an underwriters whenever there is a certain number of shares remain unsold. Such shares will be purchased by such underwriters. So underwriting agreement means what? Company enters into an agreement with underwriters by paying them a commission. The underwriters assure the company to take up the unsold shares or securities so that the company is able to raise its minimum subscription. So minimum subscription amount means what? Whenever company invites public for the issue of shares, then with the application form it can be deposited. Such amount will be deposited into the bank. Fourth one, closing of subscription list. As per SEBI, the subscription list must be kept open for at least 3 working days and not more than 10 working days. Minimum काय period आहे? Minimum 3 working days and maximum 10 पेक्षा जास्त can apply for shares only when the subscription list is open. मग ज्या ॲप्लिकंट्सला ज्या पर्सनला ॲप्लाय करायचं आहे शेअर्ससाठी, मग जेव्हा ती ओपन असेल सबस्क्रिप्शन लिस्ट तेव्हाच ते अप्लाय करू शकतात. एकदा क्लोज झाली की ते नेवर अप्लाय फॉर सच शेअर्स. Fifth point, basis of allotment. Allotment of shares will be on the basis which will be decided for each category of subscribers. Allotment will be as per the minimum application size as fixed by the company. So it will be based on the which will be decided for each category of subscribers. मग कोणते सबस्क्रायबर्स आहेत त्या कॅटेगरीवरती डिपेंड आहे अलॉटमेंट. फॉर एक्झाम्पल 10% इक्विटी शेअर्स आहेत, 10% प्रेफरन्स शेअर्स आहेत, एक्सेट्रा. ओव्हर सबस्क्रिप्शन. So oversubscription is a situation where when application received for shares are more than the number of shares offered by the company. आपण मिनिमम जसं बघितलं ते काय होतं, जे ऑफर करणारे त्याच्यापेक्षा काय असतात, शेअर्स ॲप्लाइड किंवा शेअर ॲप्लिकेशन काय असतात, कमी असतात. आणि इथे काय असणार आहेत, जेवढे ऑफर केलेत त्याच्यापेक्षा काय असतं, जास्त असणार आहेत शेअर ॲप्लिकेशन फॉर्म. मग त्या कंडिशनला काय म्हणायचं, ओव्हर सबस्क्रिप्शन. आणि मिनिमम सबस्क्रिप्शनच्या वेळेस कोणाची गरज असते, अंडर रायटिंग एजंट्सची. कारण जे शेअर्स अनसोल्ड राहणार आहेत ते कोण, त्याची जबाबदारी कोण घेणार आहे, इथे अंडर रायटिंग एजंट. आणि त्याच्यासाठी त्यांना काय मिळतं, कमिशन मिळतं. आणि ओव्हर सबस्क्रिप्शन म्हणजे काय असणार आहेत, इथे त्याच्यापेक्षा कमी शेअर्स ऑफर केलेले असणार. So SEBI does not allow any allotment in excess of securities offered through offer document or prospectus. However, it may permit to allot not more than 10% of the net offer. 7th, permission to deal on stock exchange. Every company before making a public offer shall apply to one or more recognized stock exchanges to seek permission for listing its shares with them. फक्त more than 2 stock exchange. There are stock exchange like Bombay Stock Exchange, कलकत्ता स्टॉक एक्सचेंज एक्सेट्रा. मग आता इथे काय करणार आहे, एखादी कंपनी फक्त काय एक किंवा 2 वन ऑर मोर रिकग्नाइज स्टॉक एक्सचेंजेस काय करणार, इथे परमिशन घेणार आहे फॉर लिस्टिंग इट शेअर्स विथ देम. The prospectus shall mention the name of the stock exchange and the fact that an application for permission to list in that stock exchange has been made by the company. जेव्हा आपण प्रॉस्पेक्टस इश्यू करणार आहे त्या प्रॉस्पेक्टसमध्ये त्या स्टॉक एक्सचेंजच्या डिटेल्स काय करणार आहे, कंपनी पाठवणार आहे. So listing means what? Getting the name of a company included in the official list of securities that can be traded on a stock exchange. Point number 8, appointment of managers to the issue and various other agencies. So company has to appoint one or more merchant bankers to act as managers to the public issue. It also has to appoint registrar to the issue, collecting bankers, underwriters to the issue, and brokers to the issue, self-certified syndicate banks, advertising agents, etc. So, company make the appointment of one or more merchant bankers to act as managers to the public issue for the purpose of making the public issue. So registrars to the issue means institution that keeps a record of shareholders, debenture holders on behalf of the company. So registrar of companies keeps all details regarding the company. Self-certified syndicate banks here, banks certified by SEBI which can offer SBA facility to investors. So today we studied what is meant by allotment of shares and statutory provisions or legal provisions regarding allotment of shares. In the next lecture, we are going to see general principles regarding allotment of shares and share certificate. Till then, thank you.